Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where late night recording, not because of D&D, and definitely not because I forgot that I record Animal Crossing episodes every day. No, but yes, this is the first, I think, video I've recorded since being back from holiday, being back from vacation. So I'm just recording late, mainly because I just sort of forgot. Like, I remembered around like 8 or something, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. And then I realised like 11 just now. I was like, wait, I haven't done it yet, so let's do it now. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:14 PM on Monday, March 10th, 2025. So, I hope you're ready for an absolute bevy of holiday-based episodes as I stretch out for things that conversationally have happened over the vacation for the next, I don't know, month of conversational topics. But I will say in general that if you haven't realised, and depending on when you're watching this, I was basically gone on holiday with quite a few of my friends to Finland, or to Lapland specifically, for a ski snowboard holiday. To be fair, the skiing and snowboarding we only did for 2 days out of the 6 days that we were gone. So it's not like the entire thing was just skiing and snowboarding, but it was a decent amount of it, and was certainly, I think, I would say, the main motivation for doing so. But yeah, like, what should we talk about first? I'm not exactly sure, because you know, now I had to make a decision of like what is a sensible thing to actually talk about for an entire day or topic or not. But yeah, we went to Finland, to Lapland, which is the place where Santa is said to live, for 1 day, and then we went up north to a ski resort for the rest of the days. And yeah, honestly, it was a great time. It's a very rare winter-y sort of holiday, which we don't usually do. Most of the holidays we do tend to be quite sort of summery, or we go to places which are quite hot. You know, we went to Greece recently, Spain. I guess the coldest ones we've been to have been like camping holidays, which those are often just sort of like weekend away. So whether they're the best reflection or not is, I suppose, in the eye of the beholder. Just like beauty. But yeah. So on the whole, it was a really lovely time. It was a holiday with some friends, a group of friends that I do know, and some friends which I'd never seen, never met before, but were, you know, we have a mutual friend in between, of course, or mutual connection, I should say, and they were great. Unsurprisingly, you know, but the people I hang out with tend to be, you know, people I like hanging out with, good people, all the same, and most people in Wales are pretty good, so I guess that's not, I don't have any drama being like, wow, they were like horrible people or anything, because they were absolutely lovely and great people. Yeah, I mean, I guess I only raise that as a point because it's certainly a bit more unusual. Most of the holidays I've been with people which I know like very well, so this is a rare exception, being like, never spoken to 2 of these people in my life, and yeah, there wasn't much else to it. They were just very cool. But yeah, we won't talk about that immediately, mainly because there's no meat on that bone for conversational topics. So what are we doing first? Well, actually, this is a very rare one because we had quite an early flight. It was like a 6 a.m-ish sort of flight, which is not maybe one of the earliest flights I've had. And I feel like my return flight from Japan might have been a little bit earlier. It probably was about 6 a.m. as well, but I can't quite recall. The only thing I remember about that flight is the fact that we stayed overnight at the airport because it was so early. It was in fact early enough that there were no public transports which would arrive at reasonable hours. It was like that. So either we just go the night before, or we take a taxi. And, you know, I spoke with a friend about it. Way back then, we were cheapskates because we were university students, so we were like, we'll just stay overnight in the airport. This one, we did a little bit differently. Well, we kind of did the same thing, but, you know, we actually are not cheap university students anymore. So what we did is we stayed basically overnight at a hotel, which kind of like an airport hotel. The airport has lodging, essentially, not in the airport, but basically right next to the airport, which is highly convenient. It's probably not lodging you would stay in for an actual holiday itself, because the airports, at least, are not that close to points of interest in the UK, but it was certainly very useful for at least our use case, where it's like, okay, we have a flight at like 6 a.m. or something in the morning, and we want to make sure that we catch it, but we also don't want to be super tired for it, like having to travel the entire time. And I gotta say, it was actually supremely convenient. Not gonna lie, not something I would have considered much, but you know, a friend suggested, and I was like, yeah, honestly, that sounds like a smart idea, and we did it, and I was like, this is amazingly convenient. If you can at least afford, not only in a monetary value, but more of a temporal sense. I had in mind that the time investment of going beforehand, you just basically do all the travel the night before, and then the day of, instead of having to travel like whatever many hours to the airport, having to leave super early or something, you can just literally be there like an hour early, just walk into the airport, boom, you're done. And it's fantastic. So I guess in this episode we'll just talk about all the sort of stuff we did before we actually went on the holiday itself. There's not much to it. Like, I just met up with some friends. A friend drove to the airport, picked me and another friend up. We had dinner, a meal before, at this barbecue place. I often don't choose the food places, for good reason, because I'm rather indifferent to whatever we end up eating. This is something I chose along the way. I'm not really sure how the discussion came about necessarily, but apparently there was a lot of thought that went into it or whatever. But it was like this big barbecue sort of grill place, where there were 3 of us, and we ordered this like this grill for 4 people, I think it was. It had a lot of things. It had like 2 big lamb shanks, mind you, like 2 sausages, chicken breast, chicken wings. No, maybe it was chicken fried chicken wings. I can't remember everything as well. There was another meat, sirloin steak, I think. I can't really remember. Anyway, it had some chips and coleslaw as well. How expensive was it? I thought it was okayly priced. Like, it would not be something I would naturally choose to get, because I don't really care that much for meat, but my friends wanted it, and obviously I'm not going to complain, because I'm like, sure, why not? We'll give it a shot. I thought it was pretty decent. I don't think it's the best mixed grill I've ever had, but I don't think it was terrible either. It was honestly pretty quick from what I recall, but maybe I'm just misremembering. But it was just like a thing along the way. We tried it, and why not? Are we ever going to go back there? I don't know. It's quite a distance away, but yeah, we did that. We ate stuff, then we basically went to the airport to stay overnight in like the airport hotel, which I remember my friends were being like, whoa, this is such like a fancy airport hotel, and I was like, or hotel that we're staying at, like we're living in a lap of luxury. And I felt like I had a very muted reaction to it, which really took us being like, whoa, darling, you're just so fancy, like look at this is absolute peasantry to you. And it wasn't, it was like pretty fancy. I just tend to have rather muted reactions to everything, and I also did not think it was as fancy as they thought it was, or maybe but it was nice. I think the nice thing about it is more the location, because it's just staying overnight in a hotel, and like there's nothing particularly special about it. I'm not going to be like, whoa, it's absolutely revolutionary. We got there, I can't remember what time. We slept at like 11 or something, 10, I don't know, to wake up at like 4 a.m. the next day to go to the airport and drop off our bags and stuff, and that was basically it. It was just like, well, now we got a lot of time, what are we going to do? And we ended up going around. It's one of the most fun things I say. I often say this about airports, that I sort of I have previously controversially said my favourite thing about travelling is going to an airport. I don't think that's true. I think my favourite part is probably the actual airport, the holiday itself. But there is something very attractive is not right word, but there's something very appealing, I think, about going to a liminal space like an airport to be able to, you know, explore, have a I'm not sure good time, because it's not like it's much of an experience. Like, if you were to have a shopping experience, would you rather go to like a big shopping centre, like a Westfield or something in the UK, or would you rather go to, you know, like Heathrow Airport and go around the off-duty stuff? Probably go to something like Westfield, right? Like, obviously that place is made for shopping, but there's something very sort of liminal. There's a very unique feeling, I think, of going around an airport at a time, especially when there's like not as many people around or whatever, browsing all the wares in these random stores, you know, looking. I think it's because the things they sell are very random and strange things, because it's a combination of souvenir, snacks, and then just random like makeup and alcohol. Essentially makes up a large majority of these like off-duty stores. Off-duty is not what they're called. I can't remember the word now. The tax-free. What's it? Tax-free airport good duty. What is it called? Duty-free. That's what it's called. Shopping experience. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing or anything, but it is a very unique experience. Anyway, there's not really much to it. We just sort of browsed around as we sort of bayed on time until our flight, which was at like 6:30 a.m. I think it took off. And some of my other friends, they got there like super early. Like one of the other friends like got there like 3 hours early or something, so it turned up at like 3 a.m, which is crazy because basically nothing's open at the airport that early. Which is fair because there are no flights until like 6 a.m, 5 a.m or something. What's the point of these things being open in the first place? There are some things which are 24/7. I can't remember what airport it was. Maybe it was like Heathrow or something, which they had like a Burger King which was open 24/7, which is nice, mind you. I must imagine working in an airport, you probably see a lot of very strange people at strange moments in their lives. But also, I must imagine with travel, like, ironically, because it's a transport hub, must be quite annoying to get to, because often it's not like airports are in the city centre, which are sort of like focal points of transportation. There often is a lot of transport, but you'd have to take like an airport shuttle or something a lot of the times. Anyway, not really the point. A lot of these things aren't really open that early, so I can't imagine getting there that early. But it was very, very convenient to not have to think about transport and travel the day of. When you have such an early flight, you just sort of walk out the door and you're basically there. Now, I'm not saying you should do that for every single flight. I think if you have a flight at a reasonable hour, like in the afternoon, there's no point of doing that. Just leave instead in the morning and you're probably good to go. But it's very, very nice for these very, very early flights. So it's got a niche use case, having these sort of airport hotels. And so, maybe the first time I stayed on one. I'm not actually sure if that's definitively true or not, because I'm sure I must have stayed in another one at some point, but I probably just don't remember it. Anyway, so now we're at this awkward sort of conversational point where it's like too late for me to switch to another topic, but I don't have much else to say about this topic, so I think it's just a short episode. How was the airport hotel? It was your standard hotel, I'd say. I can't remember what we did, to be honest. Look through a photo album. Oh, it was actually a very interesting one, because my friend specifically booked a hotel room such that we could see the runway, which was kind of cool. We didn't really see many flights take off though, because unsurprisingly we turned up quite late. I'm not sure what the latest flights often are from airports, but there weren't really many that were going. I don't think we even saw any take off while we're in the room. And obviously we left before the earliest flights would take off, but it was kind of cool to see the runway and the taxiway with all the planes on there. Let's see, hold on. Earliest and latest flights, airports, London. Let's see what's going on with Heathrow. Heathrow. 10:45. So about 11 is about the latest flight, and the earliest flight is 4:45. I wonder if I can find what flight my flight back home from Japan was. As I say, I remember it being incredibly early, but I don't remember how early it necessarily was. I just remember being on in the airport the night before. What is this? So yeah, we left for the airport at 9 PM. 11 PM we arrived at the airport. That seems a bit late. I returned the Wi-Fi thing at 5 AM. So it looks like it was a flight basically at 5 AM. 6 AM. Yeah. Good times, that trip. Good times. To think how far we've come. We're going on trips. Oh yeah, I shaved my friend's head. I forgot about that. He brought like a new electric sort of razor. And he's very much going for a bold look. And by the way, I'm not very good at I can't say I'm particularly familiar with shaving. I'm only really familiar with trimming my own hair here and there, but it's a fascinating experience. Anyway, it was just, that's all I mean to say, is it was very comfortable, I think, staying in a sort of airport hotel this night before for a very early flight. Would recommend if the opportunity arises. Otherwise, don't know, it's kind of up to you, I suppose. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here because this was just a warm-up. This is me getting back into the conversational groove of speaking again. I'm sure the future episodes we'll get into more of the meat potatoes of holiday. But for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope we see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.